Are you thinking about moving to Duluth, Georgia? Niche.com rated Duluth as the second best place to live in Gwinnett County, and it was one of my favorite cities, and it still is one of my favorite cities to visit. And I am so excited that in this video we are going to talk about everything there is to do in Duluth, what it's like living there, and we'll also explore homes at different price points so you can get a good idea of what it would be like if you moved to Duluth. If this is your first time to this channel and you want to learn a little bit more about Duluth or other Metro Atlanta cities, then make sure to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so that you can stay up to date on everything real estate related in Metro Atlanta. So let's first talk about where Duluth is located. It's going to be 27 miles northeast of Atlanta, and the surrounding cities are going to include Norcross, Lawrenceville, Johns Creek, and Suwanee. If you're coming from Atlanta, then you'll mostly take I-85 and it's a straight shot all the way to Duluth. But if you know anything about Atlanta and its traffic and all the accidents that can happen, you can also take Peachtree Industrial Boulevard or Beaufort Highway to get to where you need to. And that's one of my favorite things about being located in Duluth is there's more than one way to get there. So just in case you get stuck, you can take another back road to get to where you need to. And before we dive in any further, my name is Alice and we hear from people like you all the time. So if you are thinking about moving to Duluth or anywhere else in Metro Atlanta, then feel free to reach out. We would love to help you. All our contact information is down in the description box below. All right, so time for a little history lesson. If you've ever looked up Duluth, you might have to clarify that you're looking for Duluth, Georgia and not Duluth, Minnesota. But let me give you a little history lesson. So in the 1870s, the railroad was introduced to the area, and the people decided to name the city after the northern end of the railroad, which was Duluth, Minnesota. And that's the connection between those two names. After the trains were introduced to the area, it brought tons and tons of people and more businesses to that area. And it spurred so much growth at the end of the 20th century into the 21st. And still to this day, you're seeing there is so much growth happening in Duluth. Part of the reason why it's so popular is because there's so much to do in Duluth. Downtown Duluth is one of the highlights. It includes everything you would ever want to do. It has tons of restaurants, shops. There's also a town green where you can sit and have picnics or hang out with your friends. They also have food truck Fridays, farmers markets, and they have a little stage where they'll have tons of performances for festivals all throughout the year. One highlight is the Gas South Arena. This used to be called the Gwinnett Center, and every time I drive by it, the signs are a little blinding, but this is where you'll go for all your concerts, sporting events. You'll also see graduations and proms held here too. Now, if you've ever wanted to learn how to ice skate or hockey, you are in luck because there's something called the Ice Forum in Duluth. And so it's hard to find skating rinks in Georgia, but thankfully Duluth has one. I took ice skating lessons here. It was a lot of fun, and I highly recommend if you want to catch some hockey games or want to go explore the free skating option that they have on the weekends. Now, if ice skating is a little bit too cold for you, then the other option you have is to go tubing down the Chattahoochee River. There is a spot on Abbott's Bridge Road where you can go tubing for 3 to 4 hours, and then at the end a bus will come pick you up and take you back to the parking spot. It's such a fun thing to do over the summers, especially given how hot and humid it gets here in Georgia, so make sure to add that to your list as well. The next stop is going to be Gwinnett Place Mall. So this is one of the oldest malls in Georgia, and back in the day there was a lot more activity than what you'll see now, but there's a lot of things that are in the works for this mall. There's going to be a Gwinnett Place Mall revitalization strategy that's going on in the next 20 years. They're going to be completely transforming the area to include over 3,000 residential units, 12.7 acres of park space, and a mix of retail and a cultural center too. Now, I wouldn't be doing my part if I didn't mention my favorite part about Duluth. I'm Korean, and Duluth is almost like the little Koreatown of Georgia. You can get all your Korean food here, go shopping at H Mart. They even have a jjimjilbang or a Korean spa that you can go to, and you can find everything Korean that you would ever need by driving down Pleasant Hill Road. But outside of all the Korean stuff, there's a ton of new supermarkets that have come up in the area as well. One of them is called Tesso. It's a Japanese supermarket. Or you can go to another place called Jesco Supermarket, which is also a great place to go for all your Asian goods. Now, if you're more of the outdoorsy type, don't worry, Duluth has got you here too. There's so many different parks that you can visit, and one of the biggest ones is called McDaniel Park. It has a ton of trails, areas to picnic, and it also has some historical structures that are all around the park as well. Another one includes Bunton Road Park, which has sports fields, different courts, playgrounds, walking trails, and a community center too. Shorty Howell Park is also another one that makes the list for me. It spans 67 acres and has a 1.25 paved trail throughout the park. In terms of transportation, Duluth is definitely one of those cities where you can't really get around without a car. The MARTA is super limited, which is Georgia's rail system, and the furthest north it'll go is Doraville, which is 20 minutes south of Duluth. So Duluth is not a great option if you're reliant on the MARTA system. But there is the Gwinnett County Transit that has a couple of stops in the area, and that's a system of buses that you can take downtown. But again, it's a little limited, so definitely recommend if you're living here, you really need to have a car. Another big reason why Duluth is so popular is because of the highly rated school systems. Based off of greatschools.org, most of the schools around Duluth are going to be rated at least a 7. Northview High School is rated a 9 out of 10, Wilson Creek Elementary, 9 out of 10, and Coleman Middle School a 7 out of 10. I always say this, but greatschools.com is just one measure of what schools would be like for your children. So make sure you use other platforms like niche.com and do your research to make sure that these schools will be the best fit for your family. Now that we've talked about all the things to do in Duluth, let's go check out some of these homes. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you are thinking about moving to Duluth or any of the other Metro Atlanta cities, it could be in the next 10 days or the next 100 days, feel free to reach out to myself and my team. All our contact information is in the description box below, and we can't wait to hear from you. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye.